As we begin our session tonight, I want you to share with the group what is one quality that you're looking for in an individual who you might trust with a personal matter. Talk about that. In the past couple of sessions, we have discussed two strategies that you might consider in dealing with your out-of-control brokenness, or the chaos as we've called it in your life. We've discussed that need to remember that you live your life in the presence of God, that you need to have a place where you can be still and know that I am God. Secondly, we discussed the importance of the formula from Romans 1. Glorify God as God and live a life of gratitude. So tonight we're going to offer a third strategy, and that's to share your heart. We have to learn to be honest. We have to learn how to be honest with God. We have to learn how to be honest with each other and to share our heart. The Psalms give us a glimpse into what prayers can look like when they're honestly offered in the presence of God. There's two places I want you to read tonight, and I want you to read these prayers and even take time to share some observations about these two prayers. First, I want you to read from Psalms 69, just the second and third verse. And then I want you to flip over to Psalm 77 and read the first 4 verses of that chapter. Let's pause and do that. The point of all this is you can be honest with God. Remember what we shared last week, that we always glorify God, that we live a life of gratitude and we're thankful for everything that God does for us. But the reality is that in the midst of our chaos, at times, He can bring us to our knees. Our life can become so difficult at times. Our problems and concerns and the situations of life can almost overload us. And our prayers need to reflect where our heart is. That we can glorify God, we can still live thankful lives, but as the psalmist has illustrated, our doubts and frustrations show up in our prayers at times. God knows our heart already, but it helps us so much as we voice these in front of God with all respect and with thankfulness. Sometimes everything is not okay. Sometimes some things are really difficult, and we can be honest and we can share our heart with God. There's a difference between grumbling against God and sharing our heart with God. Because incidentally, just so you know, grumbling can lead to 40 years of wandering around in a desert. But we honor God when we're honest with God and share our lives. So as a group, I want you to think for just a few moments, what do you think the biggest obstacle is for you in being totally honest with God when you feel the frustrations growing? Talk about that. Secondly, we have to learn to share our hearts with other people. Everything's not okay. Stop telling people that it is. Now, you don't have to be that person that everyone starts avoiding because you're constantly telling them something's wrong in your life, but you're in a life group. You're surrounded by people who know you, who care about you, and who you should be able to trust. Share your heart. Take off that church face. Develop a relationship with a confidant, and it might be the very people that are sitting in the group with you now. James tells us that if we confess our sins one to another, that those sins are forgiven. We were created by God to live in community. Let's not take this for granted. So as a group, I want you to talk for just a few moments of what do you think is the greatest obstacle Christians have in being transparent about their doubts, about their fears, and about their pain. Talk about that. Okay, as we close out tonight, I want you to spend a little time in prayer. This is prayer that you're going to allow others in your group to speak out loud. But I'm going to ask that you pray a very specific statement. Go around the group, and those who choose to say out loud as a part of your prayer, God, help me to be able to share my heart and to be honest with you, to be honest with others. Then conclude with a prayer for the blessings you have as a group and for the concerns you have as a group.